What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 award winner in innovation, for innovation, handed out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I am very jacked tonight because I am co-hosting with a gentleman I've respected for a long, long time when it comes to live streaming. And someone someone we both know said, Kinte wanted to chat with you. And I said, you know what? I want to do stuff with Kinte. So we are making it happen. Don't know how often it's going to happen, but it's going to happen more than once. Let's put it that way. So it's my honor and pleasure to introduce an extensive and great and professional communicator, not a live streamer, communicator, Mr. Kinte Ferguson. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great. I am so happy to be here. As you know, I'm a big admirer of your work, and I consider it an honor and a privilege to be sharing the broadcast space with you. And I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight. I think it's so important for us to have these conversations, and I love that you've always created a platform for it. And it's sometimes things go crazy in the world, and we just need that proper place to talk, right? And before I continue, I want to give a shout out to Kiana, because
yes,
a couple of years ago we started a show called the Black Empowerment 365 Show, where I wanted to talk about some of these things in our community, and I was very angry, and I wanted to do it from a very angry standpoint, and Kiana, who balanced me out, kept me from doing that, and I appreciate that. So I'm really happy about tonight.
Well, I remember when that all started, those conversations started, and Kiana has a way of leveling up in a proper way. So, Kiana, thank you so much for the lady that you are. And I miss your laughter. I love your laugh. I haven't heard it for a long time. So Kinte's already said it. I always said, anytime you want to jump on, we make room for you in a positive way. Not we're going to kick anybody out. You've earned it. You deserve it. So anytime you want to jump in, no problem. So I was chatting with Kinte after one of his great conversations in the last week or so. And I said, what are we going to call this? Like, what are we going to call this? And I gave him a title, and Kinte has an interesting sense of humor at times. He said that that'd be probably, people wouldn't get it, but we're going to roll with it. And you got to tell us what you think about it. But we're calling these conversations Black Men from North of the 49th and Black Men from South of the 49th. If people don't get it, the border that divides Canada and the U.S., I'm in Canada, Toronto, and Kinte's in the U.S., is a 49th parallel. So that's how I came up with the title. So
great title, by the way.
I don't know. As the more I live stream, the more creative I get. So that's what we're going to roll with. If you don't like it, we don't mind. If you like it, we don't mind.
You know what's funny about that is when I first started doing podcasting, I had these ideas for these very, intricate titles that, really had some thought to it. And then I realized that most of the audience, if you just call it something very simple, it, like if you go too slick with it, it gets lost. So, but I like this though. For the conversations we're going to have, I want, this is a great title for it. So.
Absolutely, because both Kinte and I believe that we like to have global conversations. Because I can speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Kinte on this. I've had the opportunity through live streaming to speak with. We'll pull in our good friend Melvin Lars, melanated, as you say, melanated people around the world, and a lot of us have the same challenges, the same thoughts, or even different times of different thoughts. And Kinte provides a great platform, and I hope I do most of the time a great platform for melanated and non-melanated people to have thoughts that are applicable to us melanated people. So I thought two of the hottest topics over the last little while are the NBA in China and the continuing going on of the Amber Geyer case, because I've not really, especially on the Get Vocal platform, thanks to everyone on Get Vocal, haven't heard too many people really get into it.
Right.
So we want people to, as Mr. Chris Como said, let's get it. Let's get after it. So unless your head's been in the sand, the NBA and China ain't having fun lately. You know, many years ago, there was a movie called Hoop Dreams. Well, right. China is Hoop Nightmare for and the NBA right now. So long story short, a few weeks ago, well, I think 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago tomorrow, we're streaming live on October 17th. The general manager of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Morey, put out a tweet saying, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." Oh, didn't go over too well in China, you know, and there's been a lot of protests been going on for, I think, over 20 weeks in Hong Kong right now, because in the next few years, yes, happy work week, Kiana, love to come on. Yeah, the NBA is backpedaling, absolutely. And the, you know, a lot of things were either canceled or rescheduled. They play because the NBA had teams playing games in China because it's a big cash cow for the NBA. Money, money, money for the NBA. But as the tour ended of many of the teams, there were games and there were no advertisements on the floor. Everything was taken out. It was like a no frills basketball game. Yeah, they're taking down. You know, Kiana, you're right up to speed with it. And then a certain gentleman named LeBron James, you may have heard of him, came out and had something to say about it. So we're going to do a screen share on this, and you're going to hear what Mr. James had to say about it. So bear with us. Let's see if we can make.
Uh-oh, we're muted.
I'm not here to judge how the league handled the situation. You know, I just think that, you know, when you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about, you know, the tweet itself, you know, you never know the ramifications that can happen. You know, we all seen what that did. Not only did for our league, but for all of us in America, for people in China as well. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm, not only for yourself, but for the majority of people. And I think that's just a prime example of it. I'll give you a one-on-one exclusive because you're my guy.
Adam, while you were in China, do you feel like he was receptive to what you guys had to say when you guys met?
I think Adam has always been receptive about what the players and the coaches and, you know, the owners or whoever kind of have comments about our league. And at that particular time, I thought he was very receptive as well. You know, it's a tough situation for Adam as well, having to put out such a fire that he didn't create, that he didn't start. So, you know, I believe, you know, it was great for him to come, you know, from Tokyo to come to Shanghai, and for him to have a meeting with us and for us to have our opinions and what we felt was best going forward, not only for Adam in the league, but for all of us.
Okay, so that's a bit of it's about a 7-minute press conference that LeBron gave. That was the core that I wanted to share on the conversation with everybody. LeBron took a lot of heat for his comments. Right. To the point where yesterday he said he's not saying anything else about it. Now in Hong Kong, they were burning LeBron James jerseys. And now I'm living here in Toronto. There was a GoFundMe account started by a group about talking about freedom for Hong Kong. And they were selling T-shirts. And the first game of the Toronto Raptors is on Tuesday night. They're going to be handing out these T-shirts outside of Rogers Centre. So potentially you're going to have the first game of the reigning NBA champions live, and you're going to be seeing hundreds, maybe thousands of people wearing these T-shirts saying "Free Hong Kong," whatever, And that's probably a look that the NBA don't want.
Oh no, definitely not. 100% not.
So I flapped my gums long enough. But Kinte, what are your thoughts on this? This story is not going away.
You know, what's interesting about this is people are using this conversation to throw LeBron under the bus, to throw Steve Kerr, as well as Greg Popovich under the bus, because they've spoken out on matters dealing with the president, displeasure in number 45. They've also spoke out positively when it comes to the conversation about black men being murdered by the police. And so now you have these people in the media saying they're hypocrites because they are not really saying anything about the situation with Hong Kong. And the way I look at it like this is, people in Hong Kong wasn't speaking out about black people getting murdered in the streets. So, you know, where do they get off saying that LeBron James or anybody has to speak up about that issue? They weren't speaking up in our favor. And to be honest with you, we have so much issues here with our own status that why should they do that? And, you know, so when you hear people say it, and I'm gonna call somebody out who's the main person, one of the main people that's talking this is Will Kane on ESPN. Unfortunately, I drive a lot when he's on the air, and I've been listening to him drone on and on, talking about you know, LeBron is a fraud. These people are fraud because they didn't speak up for Hong Kong. First of all, most people have no idea really what that situation is. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm an expert in that situation at all either. But where was these people who speak up about what China's doing in Africa? You know, how they're putting black people into slavery in Africa and exploiting our country as well. Exploiting our home, you know, our motherland. So I don't necessarily think that. I mean, I understand, you know, China's a big market. It's a lot of business, you know, billions of people, billions of dollars that go through China. So I understand, and it, you know, I understand why people would be hesitant to say something. And then also, LeBron was correct, and just to let people know, I am a Laker fan, but believe me, I put black people before everything. So it doesn't matter that he's a Laker or whatnot. If he's wrong, he's wrong. Believe me, I call him out. He was correct, I feel, in when he said that it was a selfish thing to do because you have people over there and you have no idea how they would react or what they would do. And then remember, because we had the situation with the Ball brother who, you know, got in trouble in China. You have to be very careful when you're in these countries. And I think that maybe if he had done it once everybody was back, that'd have been fine. But you got to be very careful what you say, because one thing that, you know, it can put other people in harm's way. And you had several teams that were there to play games. And, you know, it's something that you have to be careful about. But I think LeBron was totally right in what he said. But I would say this, he probably shouldn't have said anything, because they were waiting because they want to discount what he's saying about black people being murdered in the streets. And, you know, they're trying to use that against him. So
it's interesting. I've heard obviously you've heard different commentaries about this. One of the things I've heard said about LeBron is that why, you know, you defend blacks killed by police and social justice in North America, but you don't say anything to defend social justice of people in Hong Kong. But again, you've said, hey, vice versa. They haven't said anything about what's going on in North America with police shootings either.
Right. Right. And their record ain't clean. Their record is bad on us too. So,
it's
I won't say nothing.
It's interesting you mentioned about the issue about China and Africa. I had a lady on about a week or so ago, Jordana Matalon, and she's a professor, does a lot of studies. She grew up in Africa. And one of the things that caught me off guard was China is definitely going into Africa and taking it over. But they're at the point now, they're not even using Africans to work for the companies. They're bringing Chinese from China to work in Africa.
Raping Africa. They're raping Africa. So if he had nothing to say about that when asked, then I could say something. But I'm sorry, the Hong Kong versus China situation, not my business.